Well, gender equality has been at the heart of the European Union's policies for many decades. I think we've seen progress in advancing the human rights of women across many spheres, for example, equal pay for equal work. Of course, there have been movements in many of our EU member states to push for proper gender equality. And our European Court of Justice has over the years developed much case law to make sure that across the European Union, the rights of women are enforced and recognized. So I think we need to do that in all spheres of our policies. We need to do it in our foreign policy, and we certainly do that in external relations. We prioritize gender equality in our political dialogues, in our development cooperation, and also in areas like our trade policy. So, for example, we have the GSP Plus system, which includes human rights conventions as a condition for trade concessions and so forth. So I think what we try to do is both have specific actions for gender equality and make sure that gender equality is taken account of in all major policies. Well, the Gender Action Plan 3 is a very important tool for us to make sure that we're pushing gender equality in all our relationships across the world. I think Bangladesh has been a very key part of our relationship, again, for many years. When you look at what's happening in Bangladesh, there's been big progress on key issues such as maternal mortality. You see the hundreds of thousands of women who are employed in the garments industry. That percentage has gone down. I think it's over 50% still, but it used to be 80%. And they make a huge contribution to this key export sector. So I think we are also keen to support the government of Bangladesh in implementing the 8th five-year plan. And that includes issues like women's economic empowerment. And I know that UN Women and other UN agencies are doing very important work in this field. But there are issues that still need a lot of attention. For example, gender-based violence. This is a key issue in Bangladesh, whether that's domestic violence or harassment in public. And we want to support Bangladesh to make sure the right laws are in place. For example, the sexual harassment law that's been in the planning now for many years. And we want to make sure those laws are enforced because it's important that women can be in the public sphere in a safe manner. They can contribute to public life. And that's certainly a priority for us in our partnership with Bangladesh. I think first of all, you need public awareness and education because all of us need to be reminded about other people's rights and the need to make sure that everybody can function in society in a safe way and have their rights recognized. So awareness raising and education, perhaps already at the school level, of course, but the school level and beyond is very important. I think having targeted programs and funding targeted programs is important. And certainly in the EU, we will be bringing on stream further programs to support issues like tackling gender-based violence. We have a €10 million program that's in the pipeline to help also support women garment workers, women on public transport to make sure they feel safe and protected. So we need that as well. We need adequate funding. And I think we need to make sure that all sectors of society, whether that be media, whether that be civil society, politicians, civil service, that they're genuinely open to women. And still in Europe, we face our own challenges. We just introduced a new law to try to address the glass ceiling, so women in business. And that law mandates that by 2026, there should be 33% of women on every big company's board. So that is an attempt to break that glass ceiling, but it also illustrates that every country in every region, and certainly the European Union, still has its challenges. So I think sharing our experience with Bangladesh and other partners and learning from each other is also extremely important. Women are active in all spheres of life. There are real champions in different areas of life. Women champions in civil society, women champions in politics, women champions in business. So I think they provide their own inspiration to other women to say, you can really do it. It may not be easy. And men need to learn as well. They need to learn that they are not in charge of everything, that women have an equal say in everything. So I think it's important to involve men and boys in all education and so forth. But I think it will happen and is happening naturally, in Bangladesh, that women are claiming their space in the cultural field, the business field, and so on. And it's important to make sure that any pushback against that isn't given oxygen. So I think we as European Union, as a friend and partner of Bangladesh, are happy to support programs that support that giving of space, but also support making sure that forces that are against this do not constrict the world for women here. I think prevention is absolutely key. I think we saw across the world, pandemic time, that violence against women and domestic violence really rose, and that was extremely worrying. And I think we need to address all aspects of this issue. We need to, especially as you say, focus on prevention, because prevention is better than cure. And I think to prevent gender-based violence, it needs a holistic approach, and that means addressing social norms that aren't helpful for gender equality. It means addressing patriarchal issues, entrenched patriarchy, which many societies around the world have to contend with. But it also means awareness raising and education, as I said, that men and boys are taught to respect the human rights of women and taught that violence in any incarnation is unacceptable. And also it means strict enforcement of laws. So the law can have a preventative effect if it's dissuasive enough. And that means prosecuting people who engage in violence against women and showing that the law has teeth. And that's why I think we would support the further development of law in Bangladesh, including the laws relating to sexual harassment and other GBV. But we also need to make sure that there are facilities for women who've endured this kind of violence and gender-based violence, whether that be in the workplace or in the home, have the right solutions available and that they can find a help of whatever kind they need, whether that be medical help or psychosocial support. That needs to be there. And that, of course, is costly. And that's why we're trying to make sure that we're contributing as a friend and partner of Bangladesh. We have many programs that touch on gender equality, including the 10 million program I mentioned that will be dedicated to gender-based violence. But actually, we have a headline goal as EU in all our relations that ultimately 85% of all our programs should have a positive impact on the gender equality question. So we're committed, and I think the authorities in Bangladesh, civil society are all committed to tackling all aspects of this problem, but gender-based violence is certainly one of the most pressing problems that Bangladesh society and other societies around the world are facing.